Hello and welcome back to Badminton Weekly with me, Jasmine Lim. This week, we're going to look back at some of the main talking points that have arisen from the last two HSBC BWF World Tour tournaments in Asia, the Victor China Open and the Victor Hong Kong Open. And to discuss the topics in detail, I'm delighted to have Danish men's singles player Hans-Kristian Vittinghus join us once more. Welcome back, Hans.
Thank you so much, Jasmine.
Let's start with the men's doubles discipline and what could be a cause of concern for Indonesia. I think it would be fair to say that the world number ones, Fajar Alfian and Muhammad Rian Adianto, are going through a bit of a slump, having had underwhelming performances since the Japan Open. What do you think is going on there?
I think the main issue for them right now is the lack of confidence. So I always feel like with Alfian and Adianto, they play a game where they are really committed to their style. But at the moment, I kind of sense that they are doubting themselves a little bit. So sometimes they're not really 100% committed to what they're doing. And it really shows in the way that they are actually losing a lot of the close games right now. So just in the last two tournaments in Hong Kong and China, they lost 3 of the 4 games with 21-19. So it's on the final decisive points where you can just see that they are lacking this little bit of confidence that they had earlier in the year when they won the Malaysia Open, the All England. You saw that they trusted their own game completely, and that also showed that they then won the closer matches. So I think it's definitely a matter of confidence for them more than it's anything really technical or that much tactical actually.
Plus, news broke of their longtime men's doubles coach, Harry IP, moving over to mixed doubles after the World Championships. How unsettling could that be during an Olympic qualifying year?
I think it was very surprising news. Harry has done an amazing job with Indonesian men's doubles for so many years, and then to all of a sudden make a big change like that during the Olympic qualifying year seems very odd for anyone looking from the outside. So I'm sure the PBSI has their reasons, but I'm also very certain that for the players it must be a little bit unsettling. And I think also for Alfian and Adianto, right now they are in a position they're not used to as being the clear number one from Indonesia. They used to have Kevin and Marcus, they used to have Asan and Setio and very close. Right now they are by far the number one ranked Indonesia pair, so they also have that kind of pressure they have to deal with. And as you know, Indonesia has very strong tradition in men's doubles, so there is quite some expectations on their shoulders. So I think right now it's a lot for them to handle. And then again, when you lose a little bit of confidence, you get a little bit more insecure, then it just affects your game in small ways that makes a big difference in the end.
With Alfian Adianto out of form and the daddies slowly winding up their careers, Indonesia is dependent on the likes of Karnado Martin and Fikri Maulana. There's also been a recent revelation that Gideon and Sukamuljo have put up their names for Denmark Open, but with different partners. Is Indonesia at risk of losing their dominance in the discipline?
I definitely think it's a bit early to write them off as the dominant force in the men's doubles. They still have 6 pairs ranked in the top 25 as the only country in the world. So I would still say Indonesia is still a force to be reckoned with in men's doubles. I was extremely surprised to see Kevin and Marcus entering Denmark Open with the 2 new partners who are trying to build a mixed doubles career, and again in an Olympic qualifying year. So there's something there I can't really figure out what's going on. But for sure it's an unsettling time for Indonesia, but it's been like that in the past as well. They haven't always had 3 or 4 pairs in the top 10. They always have someone who can compete.
Yamaguchi has to dig deep. An Young makes history.
Young, the inform player of 2023, continues her outstanding form.
Great decision, it's out. It's Yamaguchi's title.
She's done it! And the 27-year wait is over.
Oh, what a way to end it.
Brilliant. And An Young absolutely delighted.
He has been excellent today.
And it's a 6th win for An Young of the year. There is no one better on the planet now in women's singles.
And An Young creates history.
and it's wide, and history is made. And Se-young of Korea. And she's done it. That Se-young is on a path that could take her to greatness.
Moving on to women's singles and the lady that is on everyone's mind, especially her opponents, Se-young has 10 titles in 12 finals in 2023 already, and she's not looking to stop anytime soon. Hans, we're going to ask you to don your coach's hat here. If you were in charge of a women's singles player who was going to face Se-young in the next round, how would you prepare her, and what tactical advice specifically would you give her?
Yeah, of course it depends a little bit on the skill set of the player that you're coaching, but one of the things that both Chen Yufei and Yamaguchi has succeeded in the few occasions this year where they've actually beaten her is to try and take control of the match, which sounds pretty simple, but it is of course very difficult against Se-young. But if you let Se-young control the game, she will just set you up for her attacking opportunities. She will outsmart you, and she's such a strong rallying control player as well. So you need to try and take control where you dictate the pace a little bit. You need to be aggressive in terms of creating winners for yourself. The very difficult thing about it is though, you still have to be very patient as well. So even though you need to be aggressive, you also have to have a patient mindset where you know that it's not necessarily the first time I hit the attack or the second time I hit the attack that I'm gonna win it. It's to just add on the pressure, and then hopefully the right attacking opportunity comes.
We can't talk about the China Open and not bring up Viktor Axelsen. The world #1 bounced back in impressive fashion from a disappointing run at the World Championships. He won his first China Open to complete the full set of Super 1000 titles. What did you make of his run in Changzhou?
It was obviously fantastic to see that he finally got that one. It's been difficult for him to win it because in the 4 years where he's been dominant, there hasn't really been a lot of China Open because of COVID. So it was the first big chance for him, and of course as a Dane it was nice to see it. I think he showed a lot of mental resilience in this tournament, because I actually don't feel like in the first match he played close to his best. He was in trouble against Su Wei-Wang from Chinese Taipei. He even said to his coach at one point in the match, "I don't know what to do." So he did have some trouble, but he just kept fighting with it, and I think during the week he just found a higher and higher level over the course of the week, and showed that all the preparation he did for the World Championships actually did give him something good. He just didn't capitalize on it during the week in Copenhagen. So I think for him as well, it was really satisfying to actually also get a good result after a really hard training block. But it's just impressive to see, because obviously Copenhagen was the main goal, the World Championships at home. You don't get that opportunity often, so it says a lot about his character that he comes back and just claims a title without playing his best from the outset.
But then, what came as a surprise to many was his first round exit in Hong Kong to Li Chia-hao in straight games. Hans, what do you attribute that to?
I would also say that it was a very well playing Chia-hao Li. He also beat Li Xijia in the next round, and I think the conditions with the faster shuttles is not to Viktor's advantage. It's clear that he prefers slower conditions, and he doesn't want a lot of drift as well. So it made the game change character quite a bit. So it was much more like a flat drive game, faster rallies all the time. So he didn't really settle down on court at any time. But I think the main reason is still that he won that China Open the week before. If you look at all the World Tour tournaments this year, in the men's singles, 71% of all the players that make a final and then move on to a World Tour tournament the next week, they actually lose first or second round. So it's very, very common that the players that make it far one week, they don't make it very far the second week.
Well, one of Axelsen's greatest foes early in his career was Chun Long, who announced his retirement from the sport earlier this year. Having played the sport at an elite level for numerous years and won every major title in badminton, Chun knows a thing or two about the men's singles discipline. So who better to ask about the current state of affairs in men's singles?
首先说一下当时我们在的那个时候，可能最终的冠军或者公开赛的冠军、大小的冠军都会是那2、3个人，比如说林丹、李宗伟我，然后后期还有安赛龙、陶田，可能就是我们这几个，那都是我们冠军都被我们拿走了，其他人可能相对来想冲击冠军概率会比较低，会比较难。但现在呢，我个人认为现在这个情况是，安赛龙如果状态是很好，或者是发挥正常的，他还是我认为他目前还是最优秀的，然后他算是一档。然后其他下来的，我觉得可能从世界排名第2到第10或者第16，这些其实都会有胜负，或者是说可能谁拿冠军都有可能。我觉得应该是现在的可能整体的这个叫高水平优秀运动员会更多，但是真正的顶尖的可能我个人认为是安赛龙。我觉得他们相对来说，整个的打法像可能大家会觉得拉吊会多一点，或者是说可能防守啊、体力比较好一点。首先他们都是00后，都很年轻，身体状态都是最好的时候。像我那个时代的时候，像林里他们打进攻的会比较多，包括可能安赛龙打进攻比较多，可能就是我会打控制啊、防守反击比较多。但现在他们2位00后打进了世锦赛决赛，而且都是这个打法。既然是他们进入决赛，就我认为他们这个打法，在现在这个时代也是非常优秀的，因为那可能有一些特点很明显的或者进攻很凶的人，他最终也都是输给他们了嘛。所以我觉得，既然他们能进决赛，他们的打法是适合当下的。我有2个人，我有2个，当然。像中国的有很多，那我说说国外的吧。我觉得一个李子嘉，一个骆建佑，因为我觉得李子嘉怎么说呢？我跟他交手了大概也有个几次了。虽然奥运会最后这是我赢了他，包括今年的5月份苏丹杯我们也碰到了，我们也有一些交流。他会说中文嘛，我们有一些交流。我会觉得他的条件，他的身体条件和天赋是非常好的，再加上他的这种爆发力，打球比较暴力，或者是这种发力比较好。我觉得这个他是具备去走到顶尖的。然后骆建佑是我认为，因为他22年拿世锦赛冠军嘛，当时其实之前可能关注的不多，但是世锦赛拿冠军之后，我去看他的比赛，我也会觉得说他的身体条件非常好，而且打法呢比较凶，速度比较快。我觉得这是相对我会比较喜欢嘛，加上他又很年轻，未来的机会有很多。
We're going to turn our attention very quickly to the Asian Games that has just gotten underway in Hangzhou, China. Hans, we couldn't let you go without getting your thoughts on the tournament. The recent World Championships in Copenhagen saw all Asian champions. And do you think that the tournament's results was a good indicator of who will do well at the Asian Games?
I think quite a few of the ones that did well in Copenhagen, who did well against in China, it's a lot to ask, especially the Korean mixed doubles with the Seo and Che. I'm really interested to see how they perform. They followed up very nicely in China Open, but it's quite surprising to see them all of a sudden like winning these big events. So I'm very intrigued to see if they can follow it up one more time and really can say we are one of the top pairs now to count on. You cannot think of a winner of a big tournament and not say An Se-young. So, like as you said, she has 10 titles in 12 tournaments, and it seems like fatigue is not a thing for her. I know she's still young, but it's extremely impressive what she's doing, and I think it's going to be difficult for anyone to stop her if she's mentally ready for it.
That's it for our show today. Thank you so much, Hans, for being a part of it and taking the time out of your busy schedule. We hope to have you on the show again real soon.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a short break next week and return with another show on 9th October, just before the Arctic Open, so please do join us then. Meanwhile, you can always stay up to date with the latest news on the BWF app, Badminton for You. And as always, don't forget to share your thoughts and comments on our Facebook and YouTube pages. See you in a couple of weeks. Goodbye for now.